Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining me the day before Christmas, Christmas Eve. I hope that you and yours are having a lovely time. I'm going to try and keep this stream very short because I know that time is, time is quite tight at this time of year. I'm going to stop my headphones from repeating myself. So, as you might have noticed, the thumbnail for this video is a picture of the CES logo, the Consumer Electronics Show logo. And I don't know how many of you keep track of CES, and I don't know how many of you have been keeping track of what's been going on, or indeed know what CES is. CES is a massive worldwide technology show that happens every January in Las Vegas. And we have gone pretty much every year that I have lived in the US. I covered CES myself the first year I did it on my own, and that basically broke me. So the next year I took Kate Warren Elliott along and a camera person. And over the last couple of years, we've grown the crew, we've grown our coverage, we've grown our comfort with the show. We've ended up with a broadcast studio, which has allowed us to do huge numbers of things. And then COVID happened in 2020. We actually went to CES last year in 2020 because it was kind of the last thing that we were able to do. Actually, no, Fully Charged Live was the last thing that we did publicly before COVID really hit. In 2021, there was no physical CES. The decision was made based on the case count at the time, based on the advice from the CDC, based on the fact that not everybody at that point had a vaccine, that we wouldn't have CES. And so this year, we didn't actually go to CES because it didn't happen physically. And our plan and the accumulation of literally months and months of planning was that we would go to CES this coming year in January 2022. We had, I would love to show you, we have spreadsheets upon spreadsheets of who's going to be there, what they're going to be unveiling, who the press contacts are. We have a massive calendar that's full of where each person on the team has to be at a particular point. And for the last couple of weeks, we've been watching as the Omicron variant has grown in its spread and is spread like wildfire among the general population. And many countries, including the US, have had what appear to be a higher spread than other countries. And this week, we have seen multiple big names pull out of CES, including General Motors, Intel, Alphabet, so all of the Google companies, and also Amazon. We've seen companies that we had actually planned to go and talk to reach out to us and go, our booth is not going to be open anymore, or we're going to be there kind of, sort of. But trying to get information out of other companies has been like pulling teeth, and we haven't been able to say whether we're going or not. We haven't been able to determine whether those companies have been going or not. Now, CES was, and I don't want the chat room to feel like I'm ignoring you. I just want to make sure that this is a succinct and quick show. So, and I might get a little emotional, so I'm just going to kind of concentrate on saying what I need to say. We invest a lot of money and time into CES every year, like just the hotel. Hotel bills are expensive, and normally when we go to CES, we circumvent that by having an Airbnb that we rent for the week. We have a big Airbnb with enough bedrooms and enough beds for everybody, and the team share the cooking and the cleaning. We kind of all muck in, and we had this great place set up. It was actually a Verbo this year. Unfortunately, as I'm about to detail, that's not going to happen now because we have officially decided to pull out of CES, and we are very, very upset. The whole team are disappointed. I think probably I speak for everybody when I say we really enjoy CES. It is the hardest thing we do as a company and as a YouTube channel. It is basically a week, nearly 2 weeks by the time you take into consideration all the traveling and everything, a couple of weeks of intense 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. work where we are constantly moving around, filming things, talking to people, attending press conferences, being on the ball. And CES is big. Like, it basically takes over Las Vegas. And this year, the number of exhibitors that were going to attend CES is about 1/2 of what it was in previous years. That's what I have heard. And it has been like pulling teeth for me. I have had many sleepless nights over the last week because I want to give you guys the best possible coverage. And there were going to be some fantastic opportunities at CES. We were going to talk to VinFast. We were going to talk to Henrik Fisker. We were going to talk to the folks at Cake. We were going to be talking to a couple of companies who were demonstrating and revealing vehicles there that kind of are still under embargo, so I can't tell you what they are. We were going to see a vehicle that was from a big automaker, a concept car that's previewing a new electric vehicle that they want to make. Obviously, the Silverado EV was going to debut. Mary Barra was going to give a keynote. And there were lots of bicycles that we were going to ride, and the whole thing was something that we really were all looking forward to. We just hired Michael. One of the reasons why Michael joined us in December was so that he had a month with us before CES. We'd signed a deal with Brandon, one of our Brandons at least, for him to return to CES, and we actually bought him some new camera equipment so he could make really awesome content. We bought a fly cam because that makes things so much easier for the camera guys rather than having to lug around a big shoulder rig or a tripod. We bought them it was a used fly cam. We're going to keep it because it's going to be useful for other things. But all in all, I think we probably invested about $6,000 so far into CES. Normally it costs us between $6,000 and $10,000 to do a show. And we'd invested that money, and a lot of it we're not going to get back. The Verbo, I personally paid for the Verbo out of my own account, and I will bankroll that. But we will have lost a lot of money. We'll lost a lot of opportunities to cover the show. But at the end of the day, we are not going because the viral count, the viral load count, the transmissibility of Omicron, and the spike in cases in Clark County has made us make it. It's been a no-brainer for us. So if I tell you that in Clark County, which is where Las Vegas is, 1 in 6 citizens, residents of that county, are currently suffering COVID or have contracted COVID to date. 1 in 6. The vaccination rate in Clark County, Nevada, is about 50% overall, and about 65%, if memory serves me correctly, for people over the age of 18. Now, here, I don't like saying exactly where I live, but I think a lot of people who watch will know that I live in Washington County, Oregon. And in Washington County, Oregon, it's got a very dense population. 1 in 14 people have had COVID. And no, we haven't Starlinked because I pulled the Starlink cable out. So I do apologize if the connection is poor. It has just started snowing and we've got a winter storm warning in effect. So in Washington County, we have about 82%, I think, adult vaccination. We're over the 80% for sure. And so I would be asking everybody who lives in Washington County, which is most of the team, to go from a place that has pretty high vaccination rate, where people are being pretty sensible about COVID, to a place where, while the exhibition spaces are covered and they're mandating masks and they want to have free a vaccine test. Everybody has to have a vaccine. So everybody has to be vaccinated and everybody has to have a COVID test. There's still an awful lot of people, tens of thousands of people in an enclosed space, even with the ventilation that they have. And I, as a company owner, as a boss, I cannot um I cannot ask my team to do that, because everybody on my team is not only an amazing presenter or editor or artist or whatever their role is at the channel, they are also an amazing person, and they have partners, husbands, wives, families that need them around just as much as we at the channel do. And I'm not willing to make my team ill or put them in extra risk just so that we can be one of the first companies to have an exclusive interview with some company CEO or other. So that is where we're at. We had I've been sitting on this for a while. We had a company meeting, the senior management of the company, on Tuesday, and the four of us sat down and we talked about it, and we went into the meeting wanting to discuss success criteria, very kind of management speak. At what point do we say no? At what point do we turn around and we go, we can't do this? I came out of that meeting with everybody in the senior team saying, this is not a good idea. But we agreed that we would sit on it, we would think about it. I told the team that we had tentatively cancelled, the whole team, the whole company. And then the next day we looked at the data and we're like, okay, well, there hasn't been a major spike yet. I was able to buy some huge numbers of N95 masks. I managed to procure like 70 masks, which is enough for everybody for the 11 days that we're there. And, alcohol gel for the studio, and we were going to have a temperature sign in and a temperature check sheet and all of those other things. But the very next day, Thursday, the numbers came in from earlier in the week, and they're starting to spike like we've never seen Omicron spike before. The last time that case numbers were that high, they were coming off either the Delta variant, and in some parts of the US, the original Alpha, I guess, variant. And we are in the process of reaching a spike, a third spike. And all the data and all the countries that have been ahead of us in this, it suggests that this could be the biggest spike. So I know that there are people who watch this channel who will label us as, bad people for trying to scaremonger and say that we are not gonna, we're just making excuses, or we're being scaredy cats. But there have been people in our team who have lost family members due to COVID, and we are not willing to make ourselves potentially suffer that. There are two people on staff, I'm not going to say who, two people on staff who are considered medically at risk for existing health conditions that they have no control over. And I'm not asking those people to go and make themselves a target, even though they're triple vaccinated. I'm not going to do it. I just want to say thank you to all of the amazing people who've started doing super chats. Adrian, thank you very much. Desiree, thank you very much. And 99 Nation, thank you very much. You are very generous and wonderful and kind. Thank you. And I will make sure that the team gets to benefit from that. So we are not going. It would be stupid. Maybe stupid is the wrong word. It would be ill-advised. And we waited until major channels who are much bigger than us had pulled out, and and companies that are pulling out as well. Microsoft's pulled out, Google has pulled out, General Motors has pulled out, which was kind of a tipping point for us. And we found out last night that General Motors is not coming. That was kind of a big flag to us. This is not worth it. So T-Mobile, Lenovo, Amazon, the company formerly known as Facebook, Meta. I'm reading this off The Verge. I know The Verge are not going anymore. Twitter, Intel, and Google have all pulled out. So there are also CNET, I believe, is no longer going. I know The Verge is no longer going. And there are some other companies that are not going as well. Thank you very much, John. That's very kind of you. And also Model Barn. Thank you very much. You are very gracious and kind. What does this mean? We are going to be stuck here. We are going to carry on producing some content. We have the Archimoto review that Michael is going to start working on as soon as he gets back into the office. He may not be in the office next week because we have a winter storm warning in effect, and we're now apparently looking at more than a foot of snow, which in this part of Oregon is not common, and so they're not well versed at coping on the roads in terms of clearing that amount of snow. So, and we may lose power because we're out in the middle of nowhere, and the temperatures are due to drop down into the low teens Fahrenheit, so pretty darn cold Celsius. Brian is asking me if we did go at this point. I think that's what you're saying. If we decided to still go, would it be worth it at this point? And the answer is no, because a lot of the companies we wanted to see are pulling out, and a lot of the smaller companies, we're going to jump on our emails next week. The entire team, we're going to start ferociously emailing all of the companies that we knew we wanted to see and trying to hook up something in the future. And it is something that we're going to keep our eyes on a personal level. Obviously, with the heavy snow forecast between now and the end of the year, there was some concern that the team might not actually be able to get to Las Vegas very easily. And my partner is currently in Missouri, visiting some sick family members, so she needs to come back as well. So all of that together has just made our day basically a little tougher. A Merry Christmas, James in New Zealand. You are enjoying Christmas Day, Christmas afternoon. Those of you who are in the UK, I believe it is just about to head to midnight if it hasn't already. And for those of us in the Western Hemisphere, we still have a couple of hours to go before the big day. I'm home alone this Christmas, which is, it is what it is. So I am not going to work tomorrow. I'm going to do some fun projects that I wanted to do for a while. And everybody else is going to come back into the office next week. And we're going to pick ourselves up. And we're going to start again. So as I was going to say, we're going to produce the Archimoto video. There's a lot of footage from that. It's going to take a couple of weeks before that's ready to be shared. We've got the road trip where we put the Ford Mustang Mach-E GT and Blue Cruise against a vanilla Tesla autopilot system. So we will be putting that through its paces as well. I apologize if the video connection is a bit poor right now. I can see that the video connection is a bit poor, and I apologize. It's just bad streaming here. So the Archimoto video is going to rock. We're going to do our best with the road trip video, although we didn't have as easy a time as we'd hoped producing that. We also have some other videos that we're working on. A final thought before I bid you adieu and wish you a Merry Christmas. The videos that we have been working on up to this point, many of them include references to CES. We're not going to re-record those. We might put a thing on screen saying, oops, yeah, we're not going anymore. But just be aware that there are a couple of videos coming your way that will have reference to CES. We haven't changed our mind. We are not going. It's just that we've already recorded those. Such is the life of production. Thank you very much, Paul. Thank you very much, Jesper, and thank you very much, Dave. A very Merry Christmas to all of you. And finally, we are working on a very exciting video, a couple of exciting videos that we have yet to record. One of which includes somebody who's watching live right now. I'm not going to say who it is, but we are super excited to be working on that video. And it is going to be, I think, demonstrative of what we want the channel to be. We've listened. A lot of you have said the videos are too long. I know this live stream's now at 21 minutes. We are looking at making shorter videos, sub 15 minutes. 15 minutes is going to be our target. We're going to start producing longer videos on take 2, and we're going to try and boil this down. So, thank you for watching. Thank you for the wonderful team that I work with. I am so proud of every single one of them. Winter has been amazing during this tough time. Kate has been amazing during this tough time. The other Kate, the one that I am married to, took time out of visiting her family to partake in planning meetings so that when we made this tough decision, she had a part of it as well. The wonderful Erin has been amazing throughout this process. She has put up with me flip-flopping on the decision. Also, the wonderful Michael and the wonderful Brandon, both of whom have had to learn new camera equipment at short notice and have had to deal with their boss going, I don't know if we're going to go or not. I don't know if we should continue planning. So there you have it. I wish you a very peaceful Christmas. And if I don't see you before the new year, which I hope I do, a very wonderful new year. See, yes or not. Keep evolving.